So hello again, everyone, and welcome to the next in our series of webcasts from Travel Weekly that are part of our Roadmap to Recovery series that we're bringing you during this pandemic. And I'm delighted to be joined again by three great travel agents representing different types of businesses and different parts of the country. So we've got Tony Mann from Idle Travel, we've got Joe Dooey from Love to Travel, but also president of the SPAA, and also Richard Dixon from Holidaysplease, so representing our home workers today. So thank you all so much for joining me. And I just really want to start with finding out how business has been for each of you. We had the publication, certainly, initially in England of the list of safe destinations. And it would just be interesting to know what's been happening since then, whether demand has taken off at all, or if it's been more gradual. I'll start with you, Tony, because I think it's been a little bit mixed, but I think you're feeling a bit happier this week, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's weird. We've been marketing and actually probably for 6 weeks now doing fairly strongish sales, week by week, and actually so excited for the news when obviously they said that, about the list, the air bridges, etc. And actually, as business just nearly closed completely, it was weird. So, but I think we might have had a couple of things in there. I think it got so complex. Obviously, what people would need to do, what they need to download. We also had the threat of Bradford being maybe the next one to obviously go back into quarantine. So I think that had an effect as well. So I take that both into account. So what we've done is this week is increase our marketing, and we've actually seen, don't get me wrong, we're never going to catch up for the rest of the year, but if I just looked at the previous week for last year, we're actually, as I took it last night, 90% of where we need to be it the next 2 days is massive 2 days for us. So the sales previously would have been huge. So we're only, I think we're 70%. So not too bad. Whereas last week we only did 20% of what our target would have been. So, but what I would say, encouraging signs, is that there is a market there if you feel, and we're on about mainly last minute there, if you want to delve into all that as to bring with it as well, really. So you think people just were initially just a bit confused because it was a bit, as you say, complex. There were different rules for different destinations in terms of entry requirements. But do you think then, like this week, you're saying it's a bit better, but people have just kind of taken a breath and they're coming to you, and presumably you're having to then just explain things, but you're clearly then encouraging them and getting them to book? Yeah, absolutely. I think that's part of it for those who want to book. And as I said, we're doing quite a bit of marketing on social media and things. And like this morning, straight away, I've looked, we've already done 3 bookings by 10
Now,
o'clock.
are these for this summer, Tony? Are these bookings for like real late bookings for the summer?
Yeah, mainly. We are doing other things, but actually we've made an effort to market last minute holidays because you need some money. We need something in the coffers. So we had our first customer go out on Wednesday. I get confused with the days. So we had somebody up there filming the plane take off at Leeds Bradford. Obviously, we're a massive Jet2 holiday seller. So I rang them yesterday. They're in Santa Ponsa. We've got people going every day for the next 10 days. I asked them what it was like, and they were pleased. Obviously, it's pretty quiet. So it was quite an exciting time for us, really. That it's the first people we've had fly in however many months.
Yeah.
I also thought, wow, I've made a bit of commission instead of giving it back. What's all that about? Nearly had a nosebleed. So
don't go and spend it all at once, Tony.
It's already spent, I can assure you.
Right, let's come to you, Richard, because Joe's situation is a little bit different up in Scotland. But let's come to you, Richard, and find out how business has been for you since various things like the publication of the list and people starting operations again.
Yeah, I mean, I think from our perspective, we've been able to trade reasonably well, through the crisis. A home working business is naturally more lent to being able to kind of be on the front foot, as well as kind of dealing with existing business, because we're all working from home and available and used to being able to do that. So we've seen a growing number of new sales coming through from kind of middle of April, increasing in May and increasing again in June. So there's definitely been positivity in the marketplace from our perspective, and pretty much as Tony has said, we're continuing to see more and more people booking and getting closer and closer to matching what we were doing this time last year. We're not quite there, but as Tony's kind of indicating, we're not that far off now for the first half of July, what we did in the first half of July last year. So there's some positivity. We had an incredible last few days of June and first few days of July, which were brilliant. And then I think all the kind of the messages started coming out with regards to the corridors opening up, and it was so confusing that I think it did put the brakes on the market a little bit. It did for us.
You saw the same as Tony?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if nothing else, it was confusing for us and our people and the home workers. And it was like, well, hold on a minute, can we go? Can't we go? What do you have to do when you're there? So obviously there's been this, mad scrambling, in our kind of HQ support team to make sure that, we've got the right kind of information going out to our home workers as well as to our customers that are traveling. Because like Tony, we've got some customers that are starting to travel now. So that's been a key focus for us. But this week, we're trading pretty strongly again. So yes, I'm feeling pretty good about the general direction that we're going in. And
have you been doing something similar to Tony in terms of marketing to try and get to make something out of this summer? Have you been pushing that and getting your home workers to do the same?
Not so much centrally, because it's not really our marketplace. We're more interested in the kind of more further afield type travel, and obviously that's not happening.
That's not happening. Yeah. So when you say you're nearly up to where you would be in July, that would be forward bookings then for...
Yeah, so that would be the kind of bookings that we're making. So that will be for people that are traveling the back end of this year and into next.
Yeah.
But we are doing some last minute business. Obviously the home workers themselves have their own client bases, and they have been marketing some kind of late deals on their Facebook pages and across their social channels, sending out emails to their key customers or speaking to people on the phone. So we're seeing some late business for the UK, which is something that we very rarely do, but also kind of short haul, and that has mainly been kind of Spain and Greece so far.
Yeah, well, you've come on quite nicely mentioning Spain, because of course this is the bane of Joe's life, because you've got your list, Joe, but Spain isn't on it, and I guess that's pretty tough for you guys.
It's been an absolute nightmare, because obviously today is the Glasgow Fair Friday, so this is our busiest time for people going on holiday from Scottish airports, and to obviously still have the quarantine in place for Spain has had a major effect. We had lots of people due to go out on a lot of flights from the 15th of July, and obviously had to move them over to the likes of Jet2. The 25th is the first ones that they've got going out. But we have been in talks, and we have been writing to everybody. We've been on every television station. We have been pushing about, why has Scotland been the only nation? All the other devolved nations are now going into Spain without quarantine. And it's very much about, obviously, the prevalence rate being, they say, 5 times lower than it is anywhere else in England and things like that. But we're hoping after the call we had this week that it will get looked at, and there should be some sort of announcement hopefully made either today or on Monday. We've been pushing for the islands, because obviously they're really low. They've got a lower prevalence rate than Scotland has. So
like the Balearics and the Canaries.
Canaries. So why have they took the whole of Spain as one area? They should have looked at it in that respect. And then it's sort of had a massive effect, because that's TUI pulled out completely for the full season out of Edinburgh and out of Aberdeen, and the one flight out of Inverness. So, we really struggle to get airlines coming into our northern airports. So that is a massive kill for us. But like the guys were saying as well, Spain's our number one destination. 60% of holidaymakers out of Scotland go to Spain. So that's how important it is to us. But
and do you think, Joe, sorry, but do you think the demand is there? I mean, I asked that because we ran a story this week based on the Scottish Tourism Index, and they'd run it in June, and they'd got, 89% of Scots unlikely to travel overseas. Then obviously we've had the lists and things, and so their July one, it actually says that there's still no massive surge in the intention to travel. They're saying it's only 17% of respondents saying they would reconsider that overseas holidays, that most of them are still not keen. But I mean, does that sort of translate to what you're seeing, or do you think there is demand?
I think there is demand. I definitely do think there is demand. If you look at how costly it is to take a holiday in Scotland, it's extortionate. So there is a lot of people out there that, have been seeing the amazing videos that we're seeing on social media from hotel chains, from, as Tony and Richard were saying, customers that already went out that are posting videos. People that are starting to get confident, and we have been pushing them out on our social media. So I do think there is definitely still a market, nowhere near what it was, but I do think there is still a market there for people wanting to go August, September. We have had people coming to us and saying, I want to book this as soon as I know I don't need to go into quarantine coming back from Spain. So yeah, I do still think there is a bit of a market there. So,
and do you think Scots are going to go south of the border and fly from Newcastle? Do you think they'll try and...
Lucy, they're doing it just now.
Are they? Just so they can get to Spain?
When we had to cancel, we cancelled off, obviously, the Jet2 flying that we had. And I'm like Tony, I do a lot of Jet2 business. I'm very mass market. And we had customers saying, can you get me on Newcastle? Can you get me on Manchester? We are telling them, you will still have to quarantine. Yes. It doesn't matter that you're going out of an English airport.
That's what I thought. They've still got to come back to their residents in Scotland, then it just adds to the confusion, doesn't it?
It does add, and we've still got, don't get me wrong, we've got Ryanair and we've got EasyJet still doing some Spanish destinations, so you are still getting people going, but it tends to be quite a bit of people that are going out to their own second homes, holiday homes and things like that. But I do think there is still an appetite, and that's why we still need to keep fighting to make sure that we do get Spain included.
Well, fingers crossed you get a result with your meetings this week then, and hopefully we'll hear something next week. I mean, you mentioned there, all of you mentioned sort of added information that you now need to know, like all your home workers, Tony, all your team. So is that hard? How are you managing to sort of keep up with all these different requirements at each different destination? And is that a pain, or is it kind of a good thing, because then you can seem like the experts and add more value to a customer if you're, to come to an agent? Tony, what are you finding?
At the beginning, when obviously we first had the things about the air bridges, and then you saw all the different things, that was a nightmare, and you just started to think, oh, should I have sold any holidays for this year? I did go home crying into my suit that night, thinking I've made a mistake here. But actually, as things have changed, so as for instance, Advantage have a 10-point plan, they've been quite good as a consort to keeping us up to date. Jet2's trade site has an entry requirement, which is really good. Even today, they emailed a notice about the Greek requirements. So it's for us who, like Joe, we sell lots of mass market. We're a big Jet2 holiday seller. So that's all together, we can go to them now for, click on, see what's there. So it's just trying to keep up to date with that, the apps that they need or wherever. So, and actually, that's helped us, because it is a minefield for people. And, we're seeing that people who would normally book direct are actually coming into us because they're asking us questions. So we know that it's become a bit of a minefield for them. And you're
getting new customers, as well as obviously getting business back, but it's not just the usual customers. You're getting some new people coming in.
Yeah, we're getting quite a bit of new customers, which is really quite satisfying, really. That people who've had the refunds back and things like that, which always makes me chuckle, from different companies. And so actually, where they're finding it hard online either to contact people or to find the correct advice, that's actually played into our hands, really. And I kind of said a few weeks ago when I was on about retail and as opening up, let's see it as an opportunity, for us who's on the high street. We're in a shopping mall, we're in a supermarket.
Is your queue back yet, Tony? Have you got your queue outside your door?
The queue is continued this morning. There was a queue, actually. Because, I don't know why everybody turned up all at once, because we do have an appointment system as well. And if there's nobody in, so we had a bigger queue than the card factory over the road and Subway, so I was well chuffed.
This is Tony's benchmark. As long as he's got a bigger queue than Subway, we know we're doing well.
Subway and card factory had been beating me for the last couple of weeks, but it's kind of played into his hands. And look, we, you know, being as we all are independent, we play to his strengths, and being that we can hopefully react quickly. We can think, what can we do, either marketing wise, you know, and that's our independent strengths, I think, really. But yeah, I didn't think it at first when I saw the list and all the things that I had to go with it. But so we've got help there, you know, where we need it for the type of market that we've got. Like I said, on the Jet2 Holidays trade side, on Advantage as well. They're and of course yourselves, you know, the trade papers. It's you know, you yourselves and other publications have been again a lifeline to us, because we read them. I'm reading them every second to see what else is happening, you know, what this country is saying. So yeah, it's information that we need, and it's knowing where to look.
Yeah,
and that's that for us.
Great. Well, I'm glad we're doing something useful. That's good to hear. Richard, what about your experience then? You're talking about how your more of your business is long haul, isn't it, or perhaps more tailor-made. So, you know, in terms of your agents, I mean, how are they managing to sell when they don't really know what it's going to be like? They don't know when it's going to come back. Is that sort of causing them concern, or are they just kind of thinking, well, if it's 2021, it'll be all right? How's it working?
I think the thought process that we go through as travel agents is similar to what we go through as people. And I think we can see that there's a real split in the public generally about how people feel about, you know, the crisis, how it's been managed, and going forward, how they kind of get back to real life. Some people are kind of willing to get out there, go down the pub, they're comfortable with all that kind of stuff, and other people are still very, very uncomfortable even going out. And I think, you know, throughout our businesses, you know, there will be certain team members who are feeling, you know, pretty comfortable and confident about things, and other people who are feeling less so. So from a head office perspective, it's about understanding that and appreciating that, and obviously working accordingly. You know, as directors and leaders in the business, we've felt, you know, I think bullish is probably a little bit of an OTT term, but we've certainly recognized that we need to kind of trade out of this, and have wanted to be on the front foot throughout. So we've looked to be positive with the team, and we've looked to give them confidence and belief. But clearly that's balanced between those that have got, you know, that in, you know, they feel the situation, and those that don't.
Yeah, everyone's
so there's a little bit of that going on. I think, and you know, people are worried about, well, hold on, if I do all this booking or rebooking and this new business, and then this goes on, or there's a second wave, or we can't travel here,
and they might be dealing with a load more cancellations.
So look, but that is possible. But it's possible that it might not happen, and it might be fine. So, you know, I think you've got to deal with, you know, what the situation is right now, and that's clearly where our mindset has been all the way through. What's the situation today? Right, let's make the best of what we can do today. And I think
And how are you finding suppliers? I mean, are they largely sort of very helpful at the end of the phone, helping you with quotes? I mean, we had some agents on last week saying that actually, I mean, they understand that people have had to furlough members of their team, and we're reporting all the time about a lot of trade-facing staff actually being let go, which is so upsetting, because they're very talented people who, you know, love being out on the road and coming to see you guys. So there is quite a problem, I think, building there. And they were highlighting it was already happening. They were hanging on the phones for sort of 2 hours, 4 hours, all day in one case, just trying to get a quote. So you've got the demand coming back in, but, you know, are you struggling in some cases to get that sort of service from the suppliers, albeit you might understand why it is, but I mean, is that causing an obstacle for any of you?
Yeah, absolutely. It's causing an obstacle, and it's something that, you know, we're speaking with our, you know, key suppliers with at the moment. It's not just about new business; it's about, you know, managing rebookings and cancellations as well. I think, you know, suppliers are aware, but obviously they're working within the limitations of their particular business positions. I think suppliers have brought back, you know, growing numbers of head office, you know, or kind of, you know, support staff, so that, you know, that they can support the trade. but there's still a massive gap between, you know, what we would the kind of service we would normally expect and the service we're receiving as agents, and that is a challenge for sure.
Yeah. What about the rest of you? Are you finding that, Jo?
Yeah, we're finding it, and because we've had such a good relationship with the business development managers that are out there on the road, and they are very supportive of agents, and not having that support just now has been difficult. And there is still some operators out there that you are hanging on the phones for 3-4 hours, you know, and it's not just the likes of 2A, there's a lots of other ones. So we are having an issue with some, and then there's others that have been absolutely amazing and how they've dealt with it. And when they have had, you know, maybe a small time, like for instance, when obviously the job forms get took off the Jet 2, there was a nightmare there for a week or two. But as soon as you go to them and you understand why they had took it off, they've put it back on, they've put them back on, everything's kind of back to more or less normal. So, you know, as long as there's somebody to talk to and, you know, get your frustrations out that we're feeling, and that they do something about it, I think that's the big thing. As long as we can see that people are starting to come back now, you know, if we're starting to bring our staff back to the high street and home workers are working, they need to start getting more people out working from a tour operator point of view.
Yeah, they need to match the investment that you're making, I guess. Okay. And Tony, just to come to you, I mean, I know you're a big Jet 2 seller, and that you've already mentioned they've been very good, but have you had any problems at all? Is that something that makes it harder?
I think that you know, everybody has to try and change and adapt to what's coming ahead, and you know, and it is ever changing every day. But I think that sometimes, I think like Jo said, if you can contact them, they'll explain the reasons that they've done it. You'll explain how you think it doesn't work, and they'll listen and maybe they change and go back to what was easy for us. I don't think anybody has set out to harm any of his businesses, but I think it's still having people there to listen to. But I also would say to companies as well that when we are sat on the phone for hours and hours, you know, it's a fine line between trying to invest now and bringing more people back into, you know, it's like boots on the ground, because you may be missing out on other things as well, as in new business. You know, moving that business on, we need to move forward now. We're 4 months down the line. We know kind of some of the things that's happening with it, you know, the coronavirus, but we need to adapt and change to it. And whether that means investing, you know, taking more people off furlough, which I think it probably does in some cases, just so we can move forward a bit, you know, move forward and start actually, you know, like I was saying about people flying this week, it's not for every one of our customers. I absolutely realise that. But for those who want to, let's make it easy for it to happen as well, and not put obstacles in the way. And yeah, sat on the phone for a few hours for simple things does drive you insane. And yeah, so it's time to move forward a little bit, I think, really.
People just need to take a little bit of a risk, because the demand is there and they could be missing out on new business, as you're saying.
I've got a 2-week radio campaign coming up, which is a risk. You know, it's not cheap, but I just feel I'm going to give it a go. You know, I'm going to give it a go, and let's see what happens. If it don't work, then okay, fair enough. But we need to invest a little bit. Let's try and move forward a little bit.
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
But I'm kind of trying to say to people, there's some green shoots out there. There are the small steps, but even, you know, all the tour companies, come on, let's get through to you. We're trying to actually swap holidays, or we're actually trying to give you some new holidays, and you won't believe some of the things on the phone, or, you know, 4 hours on, and oh yeah, sorry, you know, computer says no. We're a bit like Little Britain at the moment, the Little Britain sketch. Computer says no, and I've actually used that in marketing over the years, and it's turned into it, which is a bit frustrating. You know, when people said it's unprecedented, yeah, I know it is, because I've lived it for 4 months. That's why my hair's getting greyer and my bags are getting bigger. Don't tell me, because I do know, you know, because I'm investing in a company that's actually, we're not making any money. So let's, you know, I'm for one of right, let's get on with it then. Let's just get on.
You're nodding, Jo, or I don't know, or maybe you're just laughing at Tony's giving me another headline, of course. We're like Little Britain at the moment.
But no, that is the case, you know, and it is frustrating because you've got customers desperate either to rebook or get something, and if you can't get anybody on the phone, it's frustrating. And when you get somebody on the phone and you know what you need to be done and they can't do it, but you know, and you have to then question them again, and there's so many people working in departments that they're not used to working in.
Right, okay. So they've got to then go and ask somebody else because it's not their...
You know, especially with the likes of some of the cruise and stays, and with some of the, you know, the vouchers that we've now got, you know, to rebook people, and there's, you know, you can't do this, but we know you can, and that's what's really frustrating the agents, if I'm being honest, because, and I understand they've got people and they're having to multitask and work in different departments, but it isn't helping when you know what you're talking about and you're going on to somebody and they really don't. And that's what I think is causing a big frustration for a lot of the agents out there as well.
You mentioned two things I want to pick up on, Jo. I mean, obviously you mentioned, Tony mentioned refund credit notes. Obviously, the first date for which they would, you know, it's coming up, isn't it? End of July. So are people coming into you going, actually, I feel more confident now to use it to rebook, or are they now saying, I've thought about it, I really want my money back? You know, are they sort of cashing them in, or are they?
It's a mixed bag, I'm being really honest, and that was, you know, I'm only in week 2 of opening. We opened as soon as we could in Scotland, and the main reason we opened was because we knew we had so many credit notes sitting for the 31st of July.
Right.
And, you know, when we were working from home, we were still touching base with customers and reassuring them that we were here for them, giving them a kind of idea of prices if they wanted to move it later and things like that. So yeah, we did manage to get quite a lot moved, but what's happened, some of them moved from May to the ones in July, which we've had to we've got them again.
They've had to move them again.
And this is a problem. People will move once, but see, moving them twice, it's an absolute nightmare. So yeah, that is one of the main reasons we've opened up, because we do have to get these people keeping their money with us and moving to later this year or next year. And it has been very mixed. We've had a lot of people in for appointments that have moved over and have used it for next year. But we have got a lot of people saying, I want my money back now.
Really?
And saying the next breath, but I'll book a winter holiday. And you're like, well, just choose that to book a winter holiday. But I think there's some older people just feel they want to know they've got their money back. Yeah. If I'm being honest with you.
You're sort of happy, I guess, when they took a credit note initially, because it keeps the money with you, I guess. But, you know, we're just coming up to these deadlines, aren't we? And I just wondered how people were feeling. What about you, Richard? Have you had the same sort of situation as Jo with, you know, some, or are you managing to get them to rebook?
I think the problem that the trade has with a lot of the refund credit notes that are out there at the moment is that they weren't the choice of the customer, they were forced upon the customer. So when the customer gets to that date when their money is due back to them, they're going to want their money back, because they've wanted money back since they were supposed to be going on holiday in March and April and May. So I think a good number of people are going to be wanting their money back. We have seen a proportion of people accept willingly refund credit notes because they just can't make their mind up at the precise moment. They want more time, and I think a good proportion of those will rebook, you know, going forward. But I think there'll be the majority of refund credit notes that are in the system are ones that customers just had to have. They didn't want them; they had to have them. So they'll just want their money back, Lucy, as soon as that date is up.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. Jo also mentioned cruise and stay there, Jo, but it just reminded me to ask whether the Foreign Office changing its guidance on cruising. I know we've had river cruise has now been taken out of that, so you can now river cruise, but the advice on cruising in general, ocean cruising internationally, has that affected your businesses? Have people now, is that sort of really dented demand for cruise? I don't know who sells cruise here.
I sell quite a bit of cruise, but to be honest with you, it's very much future cruise that I'm booking for next year, and I think it's had an effect on a lot of people that were looking to get a bit of late business in cruising. But I must admit, had quite a bit of success with moving people over with the vouchers for next year.
Is that because they enhanced them and gave you like 125%? Yeah.
And I think, you know, a lot of our customers are regular cruisers. They know the health and safety elements that are on a cruise ship. They're quite happy. They feel safe on a cruise ship, a lot of them. So I've not really had a big issue with it. But obviously I've seen today that, you know, the DFT's announced that UK waters as well is included. Yeah, so, you know, there's lots of, you know, it's really not clear at all with regards to cruising. And I think this is where we come into play as an agency, you know, home workers or people on the high street, that we can reassure people as well about what is needed and where they can go and where they can cruise to just now. So, yeah.
Richard, do your home workers sell? They must sell a fair bit of cruise.
Yeah, we do. We do some nice cruise business. What we found generally is that, you know, we've been able to kind of, you know, rebook, and obviously some of the incentives that were in place have helped us to retain that business and rebook. But we haven't seen an awful lot of new cruise business coming in. So I think, you know, there is a kind of challenge to get that market going again. I think Joe's right. Obviously, regular cruisers, they know what it's all about. They know the product. I think the main challenge of the regular cruise market is that, you know, a lot of them are kind of older people, and there's a YouGov, you know, study of, you know, consumer confidence that regarding travel that's come out today, which is, you know, highlighting that, you know, people who are kind of, you know, age 65, 70 plus, you know, they're really not comfortable with traveling abroad, and they're really concerned about, you know, going on a flight or whatever. So I think, you know, that market is going to take a bit of time to come back.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, a couple of more things I just wanted to cover off, and well, also in terms of another government announcement, but, you know, the announcement about face coverings having to be worn in all shops from the 24th of July. I just wonder, Tony and Joe, how you think that will affect your business, if at all. You know, I know you've already got some PPE measures up and screens, and got your hand sanitizer and stuff. So
in Scotland, we've already got it in place. You have to now. So we've had that in place since was it Friday last week? And to be honest with you, it's not making a massive difference. People have got used to wearing them, and we have got in the shops the screens up, and I've also got the girls' visors, and they've got masks, and I've let them choose what they want to do. And, you know, some people, like customers, are really cautious, so they've got their mask on, they've got their visor on, they've got the screen, and then there's others that are just quite happy with their screen. And when customers coming in, they are wearing their masks coming into the shops. We're not allowing them in if they're not wearing one.
Oh, really? Okay.
Not made a difference.
Okay, that's good to hear, because I know, Tony, you were very, you know, you're quite proud of your shop and everything's color coded. Are you going to give them a sort of matching mask as they come in now?
I have been looking, to be honest, see whether I can get any branded, but to be honest, I do. Again, I'll look at it in the sense that I think some people won't be happy when it comes in next week, but I think that'll be a small minority of people. And I've noticed that because we're in a supermarket, actually, I've noticed this week more and more people wearing them as they're coming out. But I also think, and this is me as well, is I haven't been into many, say, large supermarkets. I've not been into the supermarket we're attached to for 4 months. And actually, it'll give me a bit of confidence to go in there. So I think it'll bring people out who wouldn't normally come out. So we might actually, again, it's that thing of thinking it might just help us bring some more people out into the high street because they feel a bit more confident, because we're going to wear masks and things. So yeah, I think it'll give us a bit more confidence, and a few more people might actually, like me, I will go more places because I'll wear, you know, you can wear a mask and other people will wear a mask. So I'll look at it that way. That's where I'll take it.
I think, you know, they mentioned it was going to be the 24th of July here, and I thought, well, if it's going to be the 24th of July, I might as well, it's obviously important, I might as well wear one now. So I started wearing one you know, because I thought, well, if it's going to be important, I might as well just do it from now. And lots of people are. So.
And if you think of the people that we're selling to, so if you look at, for us, for the Med, the people that's going away now, we're telling them they're going to have to wear masks, and probably they might wear masks walking around the resort. So again, they're okay with that. We're telling them that, and so they're okay. So they're actually, the people who are coming in, I'll have to wear a mask anyway, because where they're going to have to wear a mask. So you know, so yeah, it's. I think it'll be okay. I think
you need to set up a little mask making business on the side, Tony.
Yeah, that's what I should have done. These 4 months, I should have got me knitting out.
Exactly. All right. Now I'm really conscious of time, but just right at the start, I think one of you mentioned how important it was that you're starting to see images of people, whether it's customers or, you know, people being back on holiday. You know, and I guess sort of two things. You know, that is clearly going to be important because it will hopefully reassure people what it's going to be like overseas. You know, we sent someone on the first TUI trip and we've been trying to report back what that's been like. But, you know, have you got plans or, you know, to actually get out yourselves so that you can try and get some on the ground or do some photos and blogging and video or get your staff out? Because obviously fam trips were so important before. Is that something that's even on the cards, or are you just going to take it gradually?
Well, I'm currently booking just now, myself and another 6 agents, owners in Scotland. We're all going to go out. We've not decided yet where, but it is going to probably be Spain, once we don't have to quarantine in Scotland. But that's what we're going out. We're going out on a kind of long weekend just to kind of see what it's like, do some social media, some videos, some blogs about what it actually is, because I do think we need to lead it, if you know, with our customers. So yeah, I'm definitely planning on getting away in August, and to show. We had already booked a villa in Cyprus for a crowd of the girls, but that's obviously been cancelled, so we're now decided to go to Spain.
Great. Okay, that's good to hear. What about the other two?
I'm going to the Lake District. It's not quite the same, but we'd actually got that booked. We've had it booked for ages, so that's my kind of holiday. So I haven't got anything booked. I do agree with the point, though. I think it's a big opportunity for us as a trade to be, you know, starting to encourage, you know, customers and give them confidence by, you know, using the product ourselves. The old kind of, you know, if you use the product and you're confident with it, then, you know, you should be comfortable recommending it. I think that old adage is very strong. We've got one of our home workers lucky enough to be going out with ITC to Marbella and Puerto Banús on Sunday for a few days. So
okay, so suppliers are starting to invite agents then on trips. That's happening, is it? I mean, it's great that Jo's setting up her own one, but you're starting to get invites again, are you?
Well, that was I think it's a mixture of one of the tour operators, one of the kind of travel social groups,
okay.
And you know, it was like a prize type thing. So, but
Yeah.
I'm sure we haven't seen that much stuff coming through, Lucy, so far from tour operators. And frankly, you know, those guys, as we've already discussed, you know, they're watching their overheads very, very carefully, and you know,
of course, yeah,
spending a lot of money on, you know, taking, you know, people away on FAMs at the moment might not be top of the list. It was
but I guess it's just that balance, isn't it? Because like you say, I know it's going to cost, and they've got other things on their mind, but equally to showcase and for you guys to have that first-hand experience to surely help you convey that, you know, the safety and all the different protocols that have been put in place.
I would agree with that 100%, absolutely. And you know, the TUI press trip out to Ibiza, I think was really good. You know, you know, we were certainly using the stuff that, you know, the trade press were sharing on their social channels and putting it out there amongst, you know, our customer base. So that worked really well. So yeah, for sure, it's important. But again, you know, we can't be too expectant because we have to be realistic.
Well, we'll keep trying. I mean, if we get invited on anything, we will make sure we go and report from it for you. Because hopefully that will be helpful. Tony, what about you? Are you going to get away, or just maybe to the supermarket?
I'm definitely going to go into the supermarket and see what offers. But as I said, one of my girls and her husband filmed the first Jet2 item with his customers on the week. They're actually going on holiday as well to Gran Canaria, which has been our top seller over this last few weeks because it's cheap as chips to go. So so they're going to take a camera. They're going to take us as mascot Billy Idol. He's going as well. He's our roving reporter. So unfortunately, even though it's a holiday, I'm going to make a film around the resort and the hotel and the kids and stuff like that. Because look, it's anything positive. Everybody wants to know. As I said, I spoke to my customers. It was in Santa Ponza to ask them what it was like, because again, we've passed that information on to our clients as well. So yeah, it just for a family to go and film up at the airport when they're there, etc. I think will be great. So we're going to share that on our social media.
Well, interestingly, I spotted that Shane Riley from Virgin Voyages was going out on one of the first Jet 2, he was on a holiday just with his family, but I said, oh, can you just write me a little piece of what it's been like? Well, it's been our most viewed story online this week. So I think there really is an appetite for people to just get that first-hand sort of man on the ground experience to know. So yeah, the more we can do of that, and hopefully, you know, give you guys reassurance to sell things, and then you can pass on to your customers the better. All right. Well, look, it's so great to talk to you. It's great that you're positive and things are starting to happen. Joe, I wish you all the best of luck with your meeting. Let's hope there's an announcement regarding Spain. But for now, thank you so much to Tony from Idle Travel, to Joe from Love to Travel and the SPAA, and to Richard from Holidaysplease. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, Lucy.
Thanks.